If you're still with me, hi. Welcome back. If you're still with me, that lets me know that you are really serious about what you're doing. Because all that you learned before, you're going to eventually have to come to where we're talking about today. And what we're talking about today is microphone technique. Microphones are marvelous things, marvelous tools. However, they can help you, yes, but they also can hurt you if you don't know what to do with them. Why do I say that? Almost anything that you do is going to be amplified by microphones. And sometimes people stick them in the wrong places and you have to position yourself in front of it to use it properly. Or they won't stick it in your face and it's up above you and you got to remember what to do to send your voice up rather than off to the side, and then it's going to go up anyway. Sound travels up. Like I said, they can help or they can hurt. I have a simulated microphone here. Why do I have it? Because most people think that when you get a microphone, you're supposed to eat it like it's an ice cream cone or something. They put it right on their mouths. Which is usually rather risky anyway, especially in this day of COVID. Which I'm going to give you a little side note here. Get you some microphone condoms and go to karaoke and practice. Learn to use microphones. Some of them will be set correctly. When I say correctly, I mean like I have this one sitting in my face as if I'm using it. There should be this much space between you and the microphone without you having to do anything to the microphone to pick you up. You're listening to your monitors and your mains out here to make sure that what's coming across this microphone is the same thing that's going out through the mains. That's why I said check both. The monitor's down there for you to hear yourself, but you want to make sure that you're being heard correctly by the audience, which is going to be out this way, coming from the side speakers usually on a setup. Be mindful of the fact that it is a tool to be used. Why are you even using it? Well, some people think it's because you're supposed to be loud and everybody's supposed to try and figure out what you're saying when the microphone's up on your face. Like, no, that's a fallacy. The further away it is, you project, use your diaphragm to project to the microphone and listen to the monitors and mains to make sure that what's going out is clear and it's blending with your background, all the instruments that you're working with. You don't fight with them. They shouldn't be fighting with you. You all should be one to make one sound. Now, let's talk about male versus females as far as microphones are concerned. I see a lot of performers, most females, doing like most males do with sticking the microphone up here. Most men project up when they sing. Women, when you're singing, you think I'm nuts when I say this. Your voice doesn't go up, it travels down. So to stick the microphone up here, you only get half of what you could possibly get if you put it where it should be, which is here. About this much space. And from here, if you take your microphone over here, you can actually get a different sound out of your voice. Here and here. You use the microphone like that whistle that you used to play with. You know, the one with the little thing on the end. And up and down that line there, those are actually notes if you slow them down. You use this microphone in the same manner. If you are singing with your full voice, It should be out here where you can clearly hone the sound of what's coming across speakers. I hope I'm making myself clear. I'm trying really, really hard. However, ladies, this doesn't really work for you. You're cutting off half your power. You can still do it, and I see things do it all the time. Yes, they sound good, but they're being pumped from the text behind them at the board. You don't ever want to depend on a board for your sound. You should sound good all by yourself, and what they're supposed to be doing is pushing what you sound like, not what they think you ought to sound like. If you're using auto-tune, shame on you. You don't need it. Please continue to exercise. Use that hissing exercise and stay on pitch so that they don't have to put that thing on you, because it's mechanical sounding and people can actually pick it up. They can hear the difference. Be what you were made to be. Be the instrument that you were made to be. Enhancements, I very seldom even use any reverb on my microphone when I work. Very little. In fact, most of the time I turn it off. I want the audience, and my audience of one, to hear my trumpet clearly. I grew up playing trumpet, so my voice is styled off of a trumpet. Some people, they listen to saxophones, and they get a saxophone sound. There are some females that sound like flutes and piccolos when they sing. Remember now, the instruments were fashioned off of someone's voice, not the other way around. It's like, which came first, the chicken or the egg? Well, trust me, it was the chicken. God spoke her into existence, and from there, the eggs were laid. Which came first? Think about that one. You are the instrument. I can't emphasize this enough. You're learning to get into the game and swing your bat and at least get a base hit. However, most of the time you should be looking to get a home run, because my audience of one demands the best, and I intend to give it back to him because he gave me the best he has. Without being too spiritual, a lot of hard work goes into what we do. Whether you acknowledge you're doing it for the right reason or not, you still have to do the work for it to get done. Don't fool yourself into thinking just because Mama said I could sing, which is nothing wrong with that. Don't get it twisted. Mothers love us unconditionally, but that's the problem. You sound good, baby, and you know good and well they got earplugs in their ear. Let's not get it twisted. Be what you is and not what you is not. You were made to be a minstrel, a vocalist, either to sing background or to sing lead, or do both. Not only can you do both, but most of you, I know good and well, most of you can probably teach others. What you're learning from me, please push it and give it, because I don't get what people are doing nowadays with bands. It's a terrible thing for you to pay to go out and have your ears assaulted. Be the type of musician that will clearly work on every note that's to be sung and put out. Make it your job to make sure that it's clear and understood. It's unfortunate, but nowadays we even have them in the singing arena. I call them COVID musicians. Why am I'm still talking about microphone technique. If you notice, every now and again you'll see me moving it. I do it naturally now. When using your microphone, you want to make sure that you sound just as clear as you possibly can. The things I've said so far are good, but that's only if the microphone is set correctly. In most cases, that's not going to happen. So you're going to have to know, excuse me, you're going to have to know where to put that microphone. If it's set too high, whether you're going to have to take it over here and project into it to make it sound right coming across the speakers, or sometimes you may have to bring it closer. Now, traditionally, the idea of using a microphone, you should have to project to the microphone so it picks up all the nuances in your voice. Most people just grab a microphone and want to be heard, so they just stick it up here. And it's all muffled and can't tell what they said. It might be okay for the band because they know at certain spots it cues them to go to the next part of the song, which does nothing for you. You get lost in the mix. Make sure you can hear yourself. Sometimes at karaoke places it's not possible, but you try to get to know the KJs so they can work with you and you can work with them. It can't do anything but enhance their show for you to do things the right way and for them to do it the right way, because they'll learn and do it for other singers that are coming behind you. While you're singing, if you're using your natural voice, you want to, like I said, have your microphone about this far away. And sometimes when you have to push, you'll bring the microphone out here. Once again, listening to the speakers to keep yourself level and blended with the whole musical background, whether it be vocals or vocals and band. It's a technique, but then again, that's why we're pushing toward being professionals. People only pay for the best. At least they should. I spoke about COVID musicians and singers earlier. I didn't want you to get offended because a lot of us had to be because of COVID. We had to sit in the living room or in the garage or in the music room, put on the music and play along and sing along with it. That was good, except for the fact we were just playing for ourselves. So everything we did was great. Most of the older musicians that would have been mentors to these musicians and singers, they figured they never was going to sing again or work again, so they just quit. Well, if you don't have any training from older folks, younger folks don't know what to do. They just do the best they can with what they got to work with. And it's unfortunate that they choose being loud rather than being precise. The louder they play, they figure, well, they can cover up any mistakes that they're going to make and nobody's going to notice it. Nobody's going to care. It's unfortunate, but that's what we're being fed. And so therefore, people almost don't care. Ruining their ears. And that's secular, in auditoriums, restaurants, and whatever else, and in churches. Let me make that very plain. No one should ever have to go to church and be assaulted audibly. Loud does not make the spirit move any faster or any stronger or any more just because it's loud. Immerse yourself in the loudness. Please turn it down and allow God to be heard through you. It's a terrible thing. Just ruining people's ears and wonder why people don't come to your churches. Enough on that. Mic technique is a gem. Like I said, I've learned that in certain spots away, and you can experiment yourself, there are different sounds that your voice makes in each one of these places. You figure out which place you need for what song sometimes. But always remember, make sure that you're blending with your background. If you're too far out in front, you can trip yourself up. You got nothing to fall back on. And if you happen to be a singer like myself that will lead a song, but in some places have to become part of the background, learn the craft. Learn to blend. Learn to use the microphone. I used to tell choirs, the microphone is your friend. Well, it is, but you Gotta be friendly first. Another one of those Bible cliches. If you want friends, be friendly. You gotta be friendly first. Learn to use it. Make it your friend. See what you can do to improve what you sing, how you sing it, how you're heard and or understood. Well, that kind of like brings us to our last portion. I'm kind of sorry it's the last portion. I've enjoyed doing what we've been doing, and I pray that you've gotten some benefit from it. You know, there's one other aspect that I just would like to share with you. When you use your microphone, your natural voice, it should be out here where you can project to it. However, there are places in songs when you start singing, you'll have to use your falsetto. And when that happens, that means your voice is going to diminish in strength. And so therefore you bring the microphone closer so that it stays balanced with what you were doing with your natural voice. You have to switch back and forth. Switch back and forth. Switch back and forth. Blend. Switch back and forth. And then come back. It's a marvelous, beautiful part of our job. It's the paintbrush, the end of the paintbrush. Because whatever you're doing, you really want it understood. You really do. Or what's the point? Please tell me what's the point. It's all good. There's one other spot that I didn't neglect, but it kind of like went by the side of the road. And that's the fact that you have 3 distinct colorizations in your voice. And to use and mix and match all of them is where the skill is going to have to come in at. You have a dark voice. Goes to the back of the throat. You round it out. You have a dark voice. You have what they call a commercial voice, which is a combination of the dark voice and slight head voice. It's what you hear most of the commercial singers doing right now. And you also hear what we call the head voice. It goes all up in your sinuses. And, you know, that's your head voice. And then, of course, there's the falsetto, where you start sounding, if you're a male, like a female. If you're a female, closer to a soprano female, if you get my point. You can jump octaves in your falsetto range. You can get 2 to 3 if you exercise properly in that falsetto range. Some fellas, y'all know that some brothers that are first tenors, they like Eddie Kendricks and guys like that with the higher voices, they use their falsettos. Learn to make that falsetto sound like a very pretty flute or soprano sax. Don't just let it hang out there. It is a place where you actually can do the same thing with your lower range and get a nice round sound. You can do the same with your falsetto. And I'm going to share something else with you and let you go. If you are already singing and leading songs, try and practice those songs an octave lower than you're going to sing them. That takes away some of the intensity. That's not the point. You use the lower octaves to make sure that the notes are correct, so that when you get ready to use the upper register, it won't be so hard to get them. They'll already be there. Why? Because it takes more air to control the lower notes than it does the higher ones. That one was worth gold. If you need to, go back and listen to it again. Or maybe I should repeat it. If you are already singing and leading songs, try and practice those songs an octave lower than you're going to sing them. That takes away some of the intensity. That's not the point. You use the lower octaves to make sure that the notes are correct, so that when you get ready to use the upper register, it won't be so hard to get them there. They'll already be there. Why? Because it takes more air to control the lower notes than it does the higher ones. That one was worth gold. If you need to, go back and listen to it again. I'm going to move on to the next phase. And God bless you.